Ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Now, I already know how this big, long story ends, but I'm not going to give anything away up front. We're going to start off by trying to get this 6-horsepower Tecumseh engine to run decently in this little CT100 mini bike. It's a whole lot of motor, so at this point, I was really hoping I could save it and turn it into a rocking little mini bike with this engine. Now we got that little motor running, that little 6-horsepower Tecumseh. It's a functional little engine, but it belongs on farm equipment. It doesn't belong on a mini bike. The power band just doesn't fit a mini bike. It's too slow coming up and it's too slow coming down. It feels okay once it's revved up a little bit, and I did ride it that way, and it was only okay. It didn't feel good. So we're going to go to plan B, and that's plan B. So now you're caught up to where we are right now. So we're going to have to take the gas tank off the Predator, and we're going to put a lower profile tank on to see if we can't fit it inside and still leave the ability to put gas in it. But if not, we've got a little plastic tank that we can use. So let's get started on that. Okay, everybody tells you to bash the gas tank in so that you can get to it and get it to fit inside that frame. We're going to go a little bit more elegant than that. We're going to go with a lower profile gas tank that has a side fill on it, so that we can, just look good. There's something to be said for style. These tanks come off pretty easy. Okay, now we'll pull the plug wire out of the way and accelerate the engine, and use an 8mm on this one. There we go. And I think that should do it. Let's get our little magnet on a stick to get it out of the way. Yep, now we're down to the gas line. And the gas tank is free short of this one vent line. Now here's a great trick for you. These gas tanks come in 2 different styles. And you'll find the ones for the Hemi motor cost half of what the ones for the non-Hemi do. But the only difference is these bolts come out at an angle here. Note, we bought the less expensive one, and we bent the bolts, because the bolts are on a separate piece of metal at the bottom. We bent the bolts down so that they fit straight in, and it'll go in and move our gas tank off to the side. And we'll hammer that down until it sits nice and low, and it's done and done. There you go, a little bit of hammering right here, and fits like a charm and won't touch the governor. We've had to do this before. Whoop. There you go. We've had to do this once or twice before, and it moves the gas tank off to the side, and it also gives us a gas gauge. Let's hook our fuel line on, and we're done. Before we put the rest of it back together, we're going to pull the heat shield off the exhaust. Now the exhaust is going to be directly under the seat. And you could replace this with an aftermarket exhaust, but that little 1 inch or ½ an inch is the difference between fitting and not fitting. So this will be hot, but we'll change it out with a hot pipe later. Now let's get her all back together. Now, of course, we're going to have to pull the air cleaner off probably to do the linkage. But we'll worry about that when that time comes. First, let's test fit and make sure she fits. And on our test fit, we found one more problem. As you can see, the valve cover hits the fender. So what we're going to do is take the fender off and keep going. And we're going to modify the fender after we have the motor in place and running. Good part about the whole job so far is we haven't gotten the welder out. I was kind of counting on having to weld half of this stuff. And if you take a look now, she fits pretty good. We're clearing the frame everywhere, and we'll be able to easily put gas in it. We'll be able to easily tell how much gas we've got also. So this is going to be a nice little mini bike. Okay, now we're going to throw some bolts in this bad boy. There's one. Let me throw a couple back ones in. And I'm going to run around the other side and do the other bolt. Whoops. And I use 1.5 inch, 5/16, and they're like a perfect length for getting a nut on the bottom and not having them stick out too far. Now that we know where the motor is going to sit, we're going to put the clutch on and make sure it lines up with the rear sprocket correctly, because that could be your next headache. There we go. And notice there's a little space here, and there will be when we're done, which will let the clutch float a little bit, and that's okay. So you got this little bit of float. However, the chain, when it runs around, will hold this in the correct position. So a little bit of float will allow for its tiny alignment differences. And if we look at this, look at it from this perspective, we can see the chain lines up pretty good. It's nice and straight. So we can confidently put the, bolt the engine in. Might scoot that just a tiny bit that way. I was running this little gas tank with the other engine, but now that we've got this in place, we know we're not going to need it. So let's go ahead and pull that out. We'll save this for another day. Now to wire our kill switch into this, this is where the on-off switch on the engine wires in. So we're going to pull that little nut. We're going to use that for our ground for our kill switch. And we'll run it up here. So I've got this wound up. We'll hook it in behind that little nut. And it's not elegant, but it works like a charm. There you go. And then we're going to do this the lazy way here. We're just going to patch into this wire right here with one of these, and we're done. Let's go inside that. We want to keep these the same length, just for neatness. See, we've got a short one here and a long one here. Let's get that lined up just right. Get our pliers ready. Okay, and give them a pull. If you can move them in any way, it's not connected right. And that's it. Now we've got a kill switch. And I always put a kill switch on above and beyond this before I start anything. Because it's, if I have a runaway, I want to be able to hit it on the handlebar. Okay, now we're going to do the throttle cable. We're going to go ahead and pull the air box off one more time. This will be the last time this comes off. Now I could have left it off, but I didn't want to move the engine around with it off. And now we've got access to the linkage. So we'll carry our throttle cable around, make sure it goes a path that you want it to go. Get the end ready. There you go. We're going to push it through this little hole, or at least we're going to try to. Sometimes this goes real easy, sometimes it doesn't. So far we're going pretty easy. And we went all the way through. We're going to hold that still right there. It kind of takes 3 hands to do this part. And we're going to tighten this end up first and pinch it down on our throttle cable. Make sure she's super tight, because we don't want to take the airbox off again later. Now we adjust our play here, and we'll take it to the end of our play and just tighten this down. And we should have a good to go throttle cable now. Make sure you get this nice and snug. You don't want it to move. Now, if yours, when they come right out of the box, this nut's tightened, and it's going to be like this, and it's going to stick like that. So what you want to do is just loosen it until it lets go easily. Another scooch. Okay, that moves easily, and it's not interfering with the travel. Now we're going to take this nut and we're going to back it out some. This limits how far your throttle will travel. So if you've got a little kid and you want to let the little kid ride it, but you don't want him to go crazy fast, tighten this nut all the way in, or this Phillips screw. To let him go a little bit faster, we're going to back it out. Now it's pretty much opening the carb all the way up. Okay, I've got a couple of faint marks on this to cut it. Okay, let's see if it fits now. Okay, I've already got a video for breaking in one of the Harbor Freight Predators. So the short version is 16 ounces of 1030 straight motor oil, non-synthetic. Run it for 20 minutes at 2,000 RPM, about half throttle. Then change the oil out with non-synthetic again, the same thing. And then run it for 20 more minutes. And then drain the oil out and run full synthetic motor oil, 1030. It's been a little while since we tested a mini bike, so I had to go find the crash hat. So I think it'll work with the camera. So let's find out. So power on, choke on. Okay, choke is off. Wow, the front end gets up in the air really easy with this bad boy. you can only say one thing about the way it runs so far. It's got some acceleration. I'm pretty happy with it. I originally thought I was going to have to put a new set of jets and emulsifier in it, but it looks like she came out pretty good. It feels good, and now that she's warmed up, she should start with the choke off. She does, and she idles good. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, we went with the non-Hemi 212 on this one, and usually lately, I've been having to rejet the 212s when I get them because they don't idle decently. But this one does, so who knows? Some batches may have smaller jets than the other ones, but I'm really happy with the way this one came out. This is just a little rock star. So, all you new people out there, if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe. It's free, and it's what we're working for. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.